right. Clock on the wall says 9 o'clock. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get started here. This is the Mythruna coding live stream. If you have never attended one before, welcome. Otherwise, you know what you're in for. Tonight I think I'm just going to be pulling some bug fixes off the backlog. I have some major things, that I want to work on, but I actually am taking off Thanksgiving break. I'm taking off Thanksgiving break, but I have like 3 major features I'm going to try to squeeze in, and I'm not really ready to start those tonight, though I may talk about one of them. I don't actually believe I'm going to get to all 3, but it's important to have, like, reach for the moon, at least you'll be among the stars kind of thing. Before we get any further, I'm going to thank my patrons. I think last week maybe we went over, we continued the performance live stream. I don't remember exactly what I did last week, but since I put out a performance release, I'm guessing that I did some more stuff afterwards and so on. So we'll go over that a little bit, but thanks to my patrons, it really means a lot. Covers my server costs and domain fees and all that other stuff. I almost break even now, which is kind of nice. Okay, so let's go ahead and get started. Yep, and if you guys want to join the Discord, PM me. I prefer to send invites right now, though when Mythruna gets a little further along, I'll just open it up to everyone, but I prefer to send invites. So there's a couple bugs on the backlog, and I want to rejigger my... so we got to change this because I added a new performance release that took over for the Thanksgiving release, and so I changed the coloring, and now I need to put that back so that... Let's see, Thanksgiving performance should become gray, done gray, and then we need to add a new one. So the 3 features I want to work on over Thanksgiving break, cell value is actually what? Thanks. The 3 features I want to work on over the holidays here are oh, that's not what I want. I've screwed something up. I want to work on plants because I thought that'd be good for Thanksgiving if we can grow corn, right? So that's what I'm working on first. I want to work on being able to swing tools around and make them do stuff. Oh yeah. First of all, it's got to be jerk. And then we also need to move it up. Right there. Okay. There we go. Now everything looks like it's supposed to. So, I still have my Thanksgiving here, so... Why aren't these lining up? Well, I'll have to sort that later because this one's working, it looks like. Oh, this one's just showing completed. Yeah. So these are all working. So Thanksgiving, I have 38 items queued up. It's unrealistic. I haven't really gone through it. Most of those just carried over from before. So anyway, 3 features I want to work on are like being able to grow cord and stuff, to be able to swing your tools, and then if there's time, I want my little chickens to be running around because I thought that's a good Thanksgiving thing to be able to harvest and have chickens running around. I don't think I'm going to get to all that, but first thing this weekend I'm trying to get growing plants. So we're going to pick up a few bugs off the backlog, but let me show you what I was working on last night real quick. I was just getting started on the stalks of corn, just playing with some graphics in this test program that I had written some time back, and you'll see I was playing with some fir grass. I was trying this grass effect to use a fir type effect for grass, and that can be animated. That one's, the animation's turned off, but you can see this one is supposed to be waving in the... It's kind of cool because you can put it on any surface. and you can have like different kinds of graphics. It would need like so much tweaking, and I'm not really happy with it, but it was kind of a fun thing to play with. So I used that test program, and I was making just like a stock of something, and I was going to work on making leaves and stuff off of it to play with some ideas. So that's what I was working on last night, and that's what I'll be continuing after this live stream. Yeah, corn. Yeah, because the corn turns out to be a great test because like wheat and so many other things you could technically do with some flat polygons intersecting, the standard kind of star pattern when you look at it from the top, with just some flat images. But corn is really kind of interesting because the ears of corn that grow, you actually want them to be like represented in a different way so that they're not so flat. And so I'm gonna see what I can do with that. And yeah, corn has some interesting things. I brought up these not distance fields. Where's the okay. Somewhere I had... Oh, maybe I got rid of it. This. Yeah, so you can see the way corn repeats is kind of an interesting thing. And so I'm thinking if I make a single geometry that's just a piece of the corn like that, the stalk, then I can just stack them on top of each other depending on how tall I want them, which would be kind of cool. Anyway, so that'll be fun. Yeah, I was using this for art reference and different things, to look at how close they plant together and stuff. I got to work on that. Ultimately, because corn, the other thing is that corn is a good test because corn gets so tall, corn can actually grow to like, 15 feet tall or something in like extreme cases. So between 2 and 3 meters tall. And that would definitely be visible in the far terrain. And so eventually I'll have to work that out too, because if you can't see the cornfields stretching off into the distance, then they're not as cool as they could be. And I don't know what to do about that yet, but anyway, first you got to have corn, and then you got to worry about how to render it from far away. So that'll be fun. Let's talk about real quick what I did. I don't think I did a live stream. I think I showed how clicking was quicker. Oh god, that's loud. Oh yeah, I set them back to defaults, that's why. One cool thing I did, so any of you who've downloaded the game and played it should know this, but if you connect, it has like actual pop-ups and things. Hold on. So if you go to this, it has like a little loading screen where you... No, it's not the corn update. I was just talking about what I was going to do over Thanksgiving break. I want to get it's like growing plants implemented, and I'm using corn as my example because it turns out to be one of the more difficult things to do, and then swinging tools, and if I can get like a critter wandering around, that would be good too. So this is actually me in the server right now. If any of you were logged into the server, I would see you. So block placement got a lot faster. You guys saw that before, and now there's loading screens and things, which I did show last time, so I'm not going to spend too much time on that. But yeah, things are a lot faster now than they used to be. If you log in, you can build some stuff now, and it'll be much better. So anyway, out of that. Now tonight, I think what I'm going to do is some people, Oak specifically, Oakster, identified some things right off the bat, and then there were some things I knew about. So I think we're going to pick a couple bugs off the backlog, because I know that I can just get those knocked out, get my coding fingers ready for a long week of no day job, where I can spend a lot of time just cranking away, hopefully cranking out some features. So I've set the thing up. If I go over here, I ought to be able to flip this over then to the Thanksgiving release, and that'll change so now we can see all the things. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I actually had to hunt for that. The old Mythruna, I had well, not old Mythruna, but the version of Mythruna that I never released, which was, kind of the rehash of the old engine, but anyway, it had a special mode of the screensaver that would do that sketch effect. And so I went and I found that image because I really liked that image, but I also found, I had saved all of these, you know, ones with these weird sketch effect, and like, you know, I could make a whole list of loading screens, you know, that just randomly pick from, but then these turned out to be all very similar. So I'll definitely go back and do that because it adds some random ones. Yeah. Oh, nice. Cool. I might take you up on that. Might have to rig up something so that I don't have to cut like a full release and upload it. Maybe some back channel. Okay, so yeah, so I found this whole directory of those kinds of files, and I really want to implement that sketch filter for the screenshots now so that I can capture some new images with the new engine with the far terrain. I think they would look really cool. All right, so let's look at the bugs. I think the one I want to deal with first is the one where we discovered falling out of the bottom of the world is possible now, and it crashes the client. And so there's two problems there. And actually, I'll put this in here too. Players can fall through the bottom of the world again. Yeah, so there's two things. One, I can just stop that, and then I want to add a physics bug here. Not a bug, but a gameplay physics. If y is less than 0, teleport to y equals 1000 as a stopgap. I think that should be, so this is my thing. I give it points, which is like story points in the Scrum sense, 1, 3, 5, 8, you know, that kind of thing, whereas a complexity. And I think this is going to be reasonably simple, but I'm not 100% confident about that, so I give it like a risk. And so those two things get multiplied together into a score, and that's what covers this total score here, and why that's sometimes really large. But you can see, you know, I knocked out, in a week, I knocked out like 2,400 for the performance release. It was maybe 2 weeks. So we'll see. Without having a day job to work on this week, then it kind of lets me do it. So let's first start with, well, let's first fix this while this is still a bug. There's another issue here in that, like, in addition to just falling through the world, there's a bug. Let's see if I can simulate the bug. Actually, I had the player logged into the server that fell through the bottom of the world. Oh, let me go turn down the volume in my config. Let's see. There it is. All right. Where is it? Music effect volume. Why is it? The music volume should be 2. Why is it not 2? Oh. Where is that coming from then? Oh, I know. I had removed it. There we go. All right. But now I've got to turn off lag and the smaller radiuses. Yeah, we'll turn off all my special settings. I can readdress those later. All right. So, oops. So the other thing, for one thing, is if you fall through the bottom of the world, it should just let you fall forever. And something is trying to grab blocks though, and is failing. And so that's one thing we have to deal with first. And so I ought to be able to see what that is. I had a guinea pig player that I created on the server, and she is currently falling through the bottom of the world. And so when I log in, it should crash me out immediately. Yeah, so we're getting all kinds of things already. Oh yeah, there's loading music too if it ever takes long enough to load. Yeah, see. Oh, it did fix me. Oh. That's cool. So I never did fall below 0. Oh boy. We got spammers. That's lovely. I don't even know how to get rid of this crap. Port. Oh, report unwanted commercial spam. Okay, report. support. What I need is like a moderator. All right, back to the live stream, already in progress. Yeah, so that's cool. It did fix itself when I patched my hole. I logged into another character and came and patched my hole. So can I remove it from here too, though? Yeah. Okay, well, that's not working. So sorry about that, guys. You're gonna have to look at that ugly spam. Okay, so yeah, so if I remove this, oh, yeah. Okay, so normally it does not render below that, so I should be able to, yeah. I'm already getting it to crash. It's not crashing out the client, but I'm getting these stack traces. So if we capture one of those stack traces, except for this is not what crashed the client, but this is an area I knew was going to be a problem. And so we can go ahead and fix that and come back in. So the digger manipulator is when you're using the build wand. That's what does that stuff, and it, you know, queries the blocks in the world to draw those little yellow highlights around blocks. And so like if we pull up that stack trace, sorry, I'm like anal retentive, so I have to fix the line feeds. So yeah, they're supposed to be unbreakable at y = 0, and so that's broken because when I changed, well, it's broken in two. It's doubly broken because it was supposed to be that way already. Like I'd fixed that a long time ago, but then when I was reworking things so that when we click locally, it edits locally and then sends a separate message to the server. So the clicking locally will open it up because that doesn't have the check, but then somehow it got broken on the server too, so it allows me to click through on the server, and that's not supposed to happen either. But before I fix that bug, I'm going to fix all the other bugs that were related to falling through the bottom of the world, because those, in case I miss in the future, or there's a user finds some other way to fall through the land, I want to cover that. And right now it's really easy to test that, so I'm going to fix those first. So remote world get leaf. So remote world get leaf should not even bother to return anything. Actually, it's not. It's returning a null already. And then the cache loader doesn't like that. Well, it should be fine with that. So that means I have to fix everywhere. All right. Well, that's actually fine. I can check it here. So in the world, so this is part, we're going to go into the open source part of stuff, which is available, early access to patrons, etc., but eventually will be open source for real. Where is it? World. That's what we want to go to. So we want to go to the network stuff, on the client, remote world data, and anytime we ask for, let's see, yeah, get leaf, free unbreakable blocks in your client, yeah. It's unfortunate that leaf ID does not know it's negative. Actually, I could fix this a little differently by making, so a leaf ID, leaf is, when I talked about these before, the 32 by 32 by 32 blocks for legacy reasons are called leafs because there was, tiles and nodes and leaf. These were like the lowest level things, so they're called leafs in like a graph sense. And what I could do is just make it, if you ask for something, y is less than 0, throw new illegal argument exception, because these are not ever valid leaf IDs if they're negative. That y cannot be less than 0. And so if any code ever asks for something below the bottom of the world for a leaf ID, it will fail. And so now we'll find bugs like that sooner. The height of the world could actually change depending on the implementation. Mythruna has a specific max build height, but other games that use the open source libraries might pick their own max build height. I don't put any restriction on that, but 0, we know there's never a negative. We don't. Yeah, gpig was fine. So, see, we're already getting. Yeah, but see. Oh, it's because I'm an idiot. The one thing that is a negative about developing the open source library separately instead of as part of Mythruna. Because at some point you need to draw a line somewhere. The world is actually stored in columns, and also the terrain itself is generated in 2D as elevations, and by picking a maximum elevation, I can limit the number of bits I have to store per elevation, which means I can store a lot more in a given tile. It's 1024 by 1024. Even if I had a byte per elevation, that's a full megabyte. Excuse me, just to store one tile of elevation data. And of course, I can't do it in a byte because that would limit the build height to 256. So I think I picked a bits of like 6 bits or no, not 6 bits. What am I thinking? 10 bits. 10 bits. So like 1024. But then I limit the build height. There's a reason for that, because as you go taller, well, actually I can show you in a second. Just let me. Oops. So since the open source libraries are separate, I have to build them separately, and then those changes will go into Mythruna. But I'll show you. There's a negative aspect of having higher elevation supported, and one of the reasons I implemented far terrain at all is because well, let me show you. I'm actually going to show you in the local world real quick. So let's go test 2. Okay. Come on, you can do it. Okay. So let's give us a little more daylight real quick. Do something I can do on the local version. All right. So let's make the settings like old Mythruna. Where we go and, well, we pump out the, let's set it to max, right? Because like I think that's 7 times 32, whatever that is, like larger than old Mythruna did, 200 and something max clip. And then we'll turn off the far terrain, far structures and stuff. All right, so this is more like what old Mythruna was like, where you can run around and you never see very far. Already my terrain is more dramatic, and so this looks a little dumb, right? When Minecraft terrain and old Mythruna terrain is very you very rarely end up with these wide open spaces like this, because the fractals were designed for the clip. And right now, with a clip here, it looks kind of weird that the world just kind of ends there. Whereas in games like Minecraft and old Mythruna, you know, you'd already have had another hill here, so you never really get to see very far just because of the terrain. And if you see, I'm up at elevation, let's see, I'm up at elevation 381, which is already higher than old Mythruna would even let you go. Max build height on old Mythruna was might have been 256 in the end, or 192 or something. And so you have like this weirdness that happens. First of all, our clip is set to whatever this far range was, and that is a clip in all directions. So if I fly up even higher, let's say we had a build height of, let's say if we, like right now, Mythruna's build height, the new Mythruna's engine's build height is 640, I think. Yeah, I think that's the plan, is it was going to be 640. And so right now, I am at 630 meters tall, and look how stupid the world looks, right? And so if this was a mountain I was standing on, like that's as far as I could see, and that's really dumb. And so, I mean, I think it's really dumb looking, right? So if you go back in and turn back on the far terrain, far structures and far trees, like suddenly, well, that's not so bad anymore, right? I can actually see to a horizon. But the effect starts to go away the higher you go. And currently the max is going to, in Mythruna, is going to be 640 build height. I'm at 740 meters now. And this would be, somewhere around here would be the maximum you could fly. Not because I limit it like to some hard value, but because the winds would be so crazy up here that you couldn't control it, and they'll basically force you to go down lower because in order to fly. But if I go like we start to see that the world is just a postage stamp up here, and so if I go too high, yeah, that's the problem. It's the far terrain, the far horizon, is what limits your build height ultimately. And things start to look really dumb high up. You can see the repetition in everything. So look how tall I am. Look how high I am. That's the other thing, is like there's a limit on the terminal velocity. We see we're falling at only 12 meters per second. That's something I have to fix at some point, because we fall way too slow. It's like almost like we're gliding to the ground. But anyway, you had a question about build height. That's why. Technical limitations on how many bits I have to store an elevation value. Technical limitations on the way I deal with stacks of, like, Minecraft have a limitation because its chunks are vertical and my chunks are 3D. If you imagine each of these blocks is a chunk, 32 by 32 value, I keep a column of these in RAM at all times, because for physics reasons, you're likely to fall all the way down, and so I don't want to have to load in another chunk as you're falling, so they're all there all the time for a particular column. The other thing is lighting is the same way. Sunlight falls all the way down until it hits something, and so it's very likely that no matter where you are, you're going to need to know everything above you. So it turns out that even though I've broken up the world into vertical slices of 32, 32 layers of 32 blocks, that you still often will need the whole column anyway. So that's a long sidetrack into a topic I was planning on maybe making a whole video on someday, but that's basically it, right? The far horizon is the big limiter. Games, it starts to look stupid if you go up too high and can't see farther than 192 meters. And there have been people who have taken Minecraft worlds and increased the far distance, and because the fractal algorithms and stuff are all meant for lower clip distances, it doesn't look so great, right? It's just lots of random bumps, nothing very high. You have to kind of design for that from the beginning, which is why I'm using a new fractal now instead of the old fractal and so on. So that is why. Yep. All right. Uh-oh. Are we stuck? Yep. Oh, Pepsi's gone. Yeah, so we've already hung our client, but you get to hear the loading music. All right, so yeah, so the world preloader is already borked because my character. Well, world preloader is being dumb, so here's one place where I have to fix. I may have given this way too few story points. Where did I put that net? World loader. So there's a world preloader that makes sure that a bunch of chunks are already loaded before you even get into the game. And I think it's not checking to see. Yeah, here it is. If y is less than 0, continue. And that should do that. So then we should at least be able to get in the game. Let's we go. Yeah, sometime after. So the version of the engine that was never released, the Mark II engine, even though I call this one the Mark II engine, there was a version of the Mythruna engine that never was released, and I added far terrain to that, and the reason is because when I started adding flying. Like I implemented flying, and flying had two problems. One was that the chunks just couldn't load fast enough if you wanted any kind of reasonable flight speed. It was just you were just too much all over the world. Yeah, so we ended up down in the hole there, didn't we? So you're just too much all over the world, world too fast. Chunks couldn't load fast enough, so it was clear I needed a lower detail option for terrain. And the other thing is, as soon as you got any reasonable height, like the world looked silly. It was like you were flying over a little postage stamp. So those were two things I had to fix, and so that was where far terrain came in. And I had like an early implementation. It just wasn't. There's probably screenshots and stuff on the web about that. Okay, so we're still getting a little. So the digger is still doing bad things, but hopefully that's yeah, we're being smarter about it now. So world client servers, get world cell. Yep, that is something we can fix. Okay, so first of all, before we leave, we're going to plug that hole back up, and we're going to stand way back from the hole so that the next time we log in, we don't fall in it again. Okay, so back to the world, back into here. We'll go to the world client service, which is on the client. Again, we're back in the open source code now. So get world cell. Already we check here for if it's, so we could similarly check world y is less than 0, then we return -1. Yeah, same thing as if we had a null leaf. And so that should do that. And we'll remember to recompile mworld this time. That's the open source version. Yeah, anyone who's watched the videos of me flying around over that desert terrain with the 2 giant cities and stuff and flying around day and night, that's all open source code. That's available for anyone who wants it. If you're a patron, all you have to do is let me know, and I'll give you an access to the Git repo for that open source package as a pre-release kind of preview. But I hope to start getting that open sourced. Well, I want to get Mythruna into pre-alpha first, and I'm hoping to get Mythruna into its pre-alpha release next year. Which is funny because originally I'd planned to get it done a year ago, but that was way unrealistic as it turns out. Yeah, I thought about making some kind of weird star blocks, right, where they're just black blocks where you can see like an endless star field underneath or something. I'm not exactly sure what I'm going to do, but yeah, it will be something other than dirt, but I'm trying to limit how deep I fall into creating new block types because I have slated, 4 different stone types that I want to do, and there's just like a bottomless pit, and it doesn't add any features to the game. It just makes things look cooler. Okay, so we're still getting. Okay, so that's not good. Get collider. Okay, so the physics collider has some problems. Wow, it's still going. So the physics collider has issues too. Block collider, that's in mphys. See, mblock phys would be. Let's put the. Uh-oh. I clicked into the void. That's another bug. All these bugs to fix. But it's all but related to that collider thing. So the collider is going to be in mblock phys. I think. Yep. Block collider iterator. Yeah. So, where did we fail in there? In 71. So when you want to pick something in the world, you get this block collider iterator, which iterates over all the intersections of blocks that you get. Yeah, and something in here. If type is less than 0, return null. And there's just all these unbounded checks and things. But we might be able to. Yeah, there's nothing better we can do because it's returning us a collider. So great. Let's try this again one more time. This is what bug fixing is like sometimes, where you just stomp a bunch of easy bugs as you go, with no real rhyme or reason or plan. Just kind of, that there's a thread you can pull, and so you just fix them as you go. The thing is, like, I could have fixed all of them just by not allowing you to remove that bottom block, but again, there could be any number of reasons that another bug allows the player to fall through the terrain and end up below the world, and I'd like to be able to at least have it not crash the client and recover safely. Okay, so we're back in the pit. We want to make sure not to fall down the hole. All right. Okay, so we're getting a different bug. So if I click now, I should, well, let's see. Okay, so that's a different error. They still get collider. Why is it asking for something so big? Oh, I know. Maybe why. Anyway, we'll put our block back. Ultimately I may not be able to fix all these things tonight, but I think somebody is not clamping the type, or they are, and it was a negative. I bet that's what it is. Somebody's doing their job too well. So that's the thing, is we get fetch 83, which is, where are we getting these from? So the delegate is the block iterator. And block iterator is part of world. I realize I'm losing a lot of you with some of this stuff, but this is the real part. So this iterates over the world blocks, the raw, cell data, the blocks themselves, and tells you, yes, you intersected something, then there's a type here. And I think something in here is, Yeah, so we get a value from the world, and then we, in Mythruna, well, in MWorld, the open source package, a int value, which is 32 bits, there's 32 bits in there. If you follow what I'm writing here, I'm going to erase it in a second. There's 32 bits in here. The low 32 bits is the actual type. And then there's 6 bits on top that are the side masks. So if you think of a block that has, all 6 sides of a cube, there's a bit that's set that says whether that side is visible or not. And so in the world data, I actually have that, which makes rendering the geometry much faster, because if I just look at a single block, I know it's a dirt block or a stone block. I know which block type to use, and then I can also look and see which faces are visible because that's encoded into that particular cell. And so what this is doing here is it's chopping off everything but the low 16-bit value, and that's fine, except for here we've actually returned a negative number, and actually specifically -1. We can't just do less than 0 here because that high bit could be set because of masking, but -1 is a very specific all bits on. We know that's not a valid value, and so we should be able to get past that one bug. But yeah, there's this in the block library itself, there's this mask utils, which defines how things are split up. So yeah, you got this is where the type bits are stored, and then you've got the upper bits that have like mask bits. Anyway, it's complicated. That's why I have this utility, so I don't have to think about that anymore. All right, so we should have fixed that bug at least. I blurt all this stuff out random, verbal diarrhea, because if any of you are interested in a specific part of this, you'll have heard it now and go, hey, Paul, there was that in your live stream, you mentioned that thing. I'd be really curious to know more information about that. You just kind of breezed over it. And then I'll know, okay, yeah, I'll cover that in a future live stream. You just have to comment or send me a message somehow that says, yeah, I'm really interested in that one thing you said, but you didn't really touch on it very deeply. And like, yeah, I would be happy to. Sometimes I'll even prepare visual aids. All right. Okay, so let's click that out again. All right, let's see if we can. Oh, it's like weird to see through and see nighttime. Let's see. Okay, so we're not getting any crashes there anymore. I wonder if that means that I can fall through the world and not crash. Let's see. Will she just fall forever? Here we go. All right, Fade. Ready? Ready to enter the void? Oh, we crashed. All right. But it looked like she was just going to stand there. Y cannot be less than 0. Yes, that's fine. Get world light. Oh, light stuff. So, yeah, so I was trying to find out what light. It's interesting. So get world light must also take XYZ values. Oh, no, that's in get world view state. So where we render the world, where the world is rendered, it tries to get a lighting value, 193, from here. Get world light, who was calling that? That was called by the model view state. So when models move around, it checks where the lighting is in their block. I'm moving my hand around, you can't see. When models move around through the grid, it checks where their lighting is so that it can light them appropriately based on the block they're in. And it calls this function to do it. And so get world light, I think if we're below 0, we'll return -1. Same as if we didn't get a light. So, oops. Yeah, no, this is only on the client, so that's fine. So, let's see, how many folks do we have on the live stream at the moment? concurrent viewers, like 6 or, yep, 6. Cool. Maybe the busiest live stream. Maybe Saturday was a better night in general. Okay. Let's see if it's going to let me even log in. Oops. Oops. All right. There we go. Let's see if guinea pig is still falling through the bottom of the world. Look at all the data go by. Okay, yeah, there's another case, local environment, validate position. So when the player is walking around, I keep track of their local environment so that I can know how many trees are around. That'll eventually keep track of what sources of sound they can hear. Right now it uses the trees to figure out where to play the nature sounds and things. But eventually it'll be, if you hear if the sound effect is known by the client, it will check that local environment to see whether that sound is actually reachable from where they are, because maybe they're locked down in a cave or something and they couldn't hear it. And so it's keeping track of the local stuff. So if we go to 161, here's another case where we're not checking to see. So if we want to say cell equals y greater than or equals 0, then we'll do this stuff, else we'll just pretend we did it. So that should be good. Wow, I thought this was going to be a simpler chain of bugs to work out, but hopefully it's entertaining at least. Hopefully the sound of my voice is not totally annoying. But this is how the sausage is made, as they say. Rope. Y cannot be less than 0. Oh, we're already in the preloader, yeah, so we got farther this time. Or the preloader's unhappy. Preloader 201, which we've already talked about what the preloader does. Shoot 201. And why are we less than 0? I already checked. Oh, it's not. Oh, actually, that's a bug. I messed that up. So we actually should do. We should capture this, because this is y is relative to the center, so y is going to be 0 minus 1. And it's actually, it's not when y is less than 1, it's when this location's y is less than 0. So that's a bug. So we were actually so far down that our actual position was negative, and so no matter which y relative to 0 we were, relative offset, we were still too low. Okay, will this be the last one? It's taking bets. What's the over-under? All right. It may have been a mistake to want to test this on the server, but I like to make sure. Oops. I like to make sure that I'm compatible. Know when I've changed things that break the client server. Okay, we're getting a little further. Oh, come on. Wow, that was fast. Oh, we're already crashing, that's why. Okay, so maybe I should just fix the problem. Okay, so we found another place. World client service. Maybe I should do a search through there instead of playing whack-a-mole. Let's see, world client service, line 255. So what kind of things are we looking at? So any of these from world or get world. No, that's not right. Oh, leaf ID is null. Ah. That's not right. Alright, well, we can fix these. We'll move the null later. Just the same as if they'd asked for it. We'll do it for all of these. Yeah, any of these that take leaf ID, we'll fix now. Tiles are good. All that stuff's good. Okay, just checking the other ones. World.y is less than 0. Return false. We didn't change it. Alright. So that's in the open source stuff. Recompile that. Let's see if we can get this set of bugs fixed in the next 9 minutes. Yeah, good times, good times. Then there was another one that I wanted to do. I think this is the big one. Alright, let's move this up so we can see our zoom. Yep, we're crashing again. Yay! Alright, that's because somebody was bad and wasn't expecting a null. Let's find the real error. Up here somewhere. Validate light. Yep, so local environment. Somebody's not expecting a null. That's in validate light 210. Still falling like me, yeah. Yeah, in fact, I think every time we log in, fade gets a little bit deeper in the stuff. So origin equals leaf origin if we can also check if leaf origin equals null. We also return false, and then we check any place else looking for that. Okay, that's it there. And light values are all ints, so nobody should crash if they're not set. These are all local, so we should be able to just run again from here. I'm already looking forward to getting back to making corn stalks. It's tedious art stuff. Okay, let's try again. Will it get farther along this time? Come on. Oh, no, we're crashing for some other reason. Oh, we didn't. It just loaded really fast. Oh, here we are, falling. But we ought to be able to now come back up. By the way, super secret trick. If you hold shift, you run. If you hold control and shift, you run super fast. So we're right now moving at 24 meters per second. This is a feature I will turn off eventually. Whee! Because you can actually run so fast you just run right through the terrain. So yes, so now Fade can fall through the bottom of the world. Whoa! Oh, no she can't. She could already be through the bottom of the world, but she can't fall through the bottom. Okay, so that's an actual assertion error. Oh man, we were so close. Light data get cell. Validate light. Local. Okay, so we were local environment line 217. We're in the right place already. So we had some light values and not enough light data because our origin never got updated because we fell through the bottom of the world, and so that's how our Y value is actually too small So then we need to check minus origin x. Yeah, so basically the leaf we have loaded is not the one we need. If j is less than 0, return false. Like local environment keeps a center, the leaf you're in, basically that 32 by 32 block you're in. It keeps track of that and the lighting in there, because that's how it calculates the lighting for fade when she's wandering around. And the neighbors are all centered on there, but if we happen to fall below that, we've decided up here, invalidate position, we don't bother resetting it. So we leave it what it was set to before, which is kind of a weird way to do it. But because of that, the center never moved. It's still above us as we fall through the bottom of the world. And so we start to try ask for negative values from that particular 32 by 32 by 32 block. And of course we can't ask for negative values in there because that's a bound array of cells. So now we won't ask for that. Playing whack-a-mole. Whack-a-mole with bugs. Alright, so I should be falling through the bottom of the world. It should let us in. It should be super fast because we're not near terrain anymore. Yeah. Actually, I'm not sure it continues to fall when we're not logged in or not. I guess not. We have to be logged in to fall. Okay, so yeah, so we can fall through the world. Uh-oh. Okay, so ready, Fade? You ready to jump through the hole? Here we go. Whee! Oh, nice. She was stuck there for a second. Okay, so this is what the bottom of the world looks like. Free falling. Yeah, so now we can fall through without crashing, which means that if you see, the reason I wanted to do that is because I think I actually oh yeah, no, that opening is just so far away. Yeah, we're already wee. Okay, so where am I? I think I've blocked off the. Here we go. Because if you run, like if you have shift and control down and you run so fast that you can actually bust through the physics sometimes. If you can get up enough speed. It's not working. But anyway, maybe I fixed that bug, but it used to be you could, if you ran fast enough, you could bust through the physics and then you just fall through the bottom of the world, much like we were doing down here. She's free falling. Yeah, we're up on a high mountain, a reasonably high hill. And then, oh, the depth you can dig in new Mythruna is much deeper than old Mythruna too, because sea level used to be lots of room underground for. Yeah, exactly. You know what I'm saying. You don't even know the half of it. I have so many ideas for the underground. Just wait. But I needed space. Yeah, because the old Mythruna sea level's at 64 meters above bedrock. New Mythruna sea level is 128 meters above bedrock, which gives us all kinds of room to have, all kinds of cool stuff, which we'll see later. Okay, so I'm going to block that hole because this next thing is to make sure I can't actually edit that. And I can only fix that on the client without updating the server. So we'll do that first. And that's in here. When we remove a block, we set local world cell. That is in, so that's still in the, so let's set local world cell, which calls remote data, set local world cell. Yeah, I have lots of ideas for the underground, and I needed space to do it. You can't have big giant caverns if they, yeah, anyway. I don't want to say too much because I would like it to be a surprise, some of it. Okay, so set local world cell. If the world is, I think we're expecting changes, and so, people are expecting null, so that's fine. But I'm going to go ahead and put the check here anyway. Oh, except for we got the type, we might as well not even do that work. Yeah, so we can check this much higher. If world.y equals 0, turn null object info cannot log warn. Remove bedrock. Okay, so now on the client, I won't even be allowed to do it. It'll just leave whatever the block is there, which someday I will replace with something other than dirt. Because while dirt is not the worst block for bedrock, I can think of several worse ones. It's definitely down at the bottom. I mean, water would be worse. Sand would be pretty bad. I agree that lava would be good, and in fact, I was actually thinking of a special kind of lava magma, because real lava in Mythruna I think will be more like lava in real life, where it's not so glowy and has like a black skin on it. So let's see. We should not be able to edit this now. Uh-oh. Oh, I'm an idiot. Remember when I was talking earlier about how, you know, open source project, you got to compile it over here in order to have it in the game? Yeah. So I get hit by that a lot. It's going to be even worse when I separate all these libraries out into their own thing. Right? That's one of the reasons I do this not publicly released yet, because I can leave them all in one giant project, and I don't have to then compile several ones separately. And I'm still on the fence about whether I'm going to leave it that way when I release them publicly. Alright. Can we remove the bottom block? The digger's not even selecting things. There it goes. Okay, we just had to wait for the things to load. Okay, so can I remove it? It is letting me remove it. Why? Why? Wait, is that 0 or 1? Let's see. Yeah, that's the unfortunate part. We're at somewhere in here there would have been a set local world cell. Yep, hit 0. Why is it letting me edit that? Set local world cell 0. We should have just exited right out. Right? If world y equals 0, set local world cell. Where was it? Remote world data, set local world cell 0. Cannot remove bedrock. Okay. Oh, I know what's wrong. It's what I was saying. We've stopped it on the client, but we still sent the message to the server. So we fixed it here. The server still needs to know better. Server still needs to know better. And so that's in deep down in the depths of default world. Set world cell. So somewhere there used to be a thing to make sure you couldn't remove the 0 block. And we're going to have to add that back. If world.y, and I can't, I mean, I won't be able to test it because I can't update the server, but I can test it locally. And return -1. And we'll note log warning. Log warn. Cannot remove bedrock. Is that what I said in the other one? Yep. I left it. I tend to leave punctuation out. Okay. So we could test this locally, and this will be probably where I wrap up the night. I did really want to get to the if we fall through 0, go to 1000, because it's kind of like an endless loop kind of thing. Okay, so we have to do this one locally, which means I got to dig down really fast. I also discovered a bug with that. I don't know if it's... I think it's related to the fact that light values don't always come back from the server. Like, I don't know if you guys have noticed that, but if you place a light now and then remove it again, the light stays. So if I'm in here and I select, you know, one of the magic lights, select, and I place it down. Why aren't you selecting blocks? There we go. Uh-oh. Oh, yeah. I'm not the owner of this particular area. Let's go over here. So I can place a block. Then if I remove it again, well, so first of all, I can't. I can place blocks on top of it. Oh, see, it works in single player. In multiplayer, it leaves the light. So I have to figure that out. Anyway, so let's make a pit to nowhere. Ooh, that's interesting. Gotta watch my elevation over there on the side. As we fall through, because I don't think I had a bottomless pit made in this particular world that I'm testing. Gosh, this is taking a long time. Super fast clicking, super fast clicking. Click, 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 click. Clicking even faster. We're falling through the world. Alright, we're getting close to the bottom. 13, 12, 11, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. I think we're at the bottom. And so we can place a light. Yeah, see, something's going crazy down here in the logs. Yeah. Somebody's unhappy and I need to go sort that out too. Anyway, let's give it a chance to sort itself out. Okay, just so I have it, find that exception. Okay, come on. Gotta finish this up, wrap it up. I've finished at least one thing today, right? But the game's pretty resilient. It was throwing all kinds of errors and still running, so that's, I guess, a good thing? I don't know. I'm supposed to fade out. Okay, so we have light now, and we can make our little room like I did in the other. Okay, so there's our bottomless pit with a little room at the bottom. Yeah, see these. You can kind of see the. Alright, let's carve something out of the corner. Okay, so there's the bedrock. Can we remove it? Yes. But why? But why? Did I forget to update the... Did I make the same mistake I always make? Are you guys shouting at the screen right now saying, he didn't rebuild the world when he made that change? Probably. So now we can try again. Now that we are sure we've rebuilt. It's like... come on. Load the world. Who loads the world? Alright. Yeah, back to the splash picture there for the loading screen. I actually had a ton of screens with the Mythruna girl in them, but she wasn't wearing clothes. She was wearing the old underwear, their bathing suit or whatever. So I couldn't really use those. All right, so it should not let me click. Yay! Okay, cool. So that's working. Yay, we fixed a bug. And that'll be where I wrap it up. Anybody want me to cover anything else before I shut the stream down and do the normal closeout? Hopefully by next Friday, the day after Thanksgiving, Black Friday, I'll be able to, hopefully by Black Friday I'll be able to mark my bottomless pit here, but I covered it up so that I won't fall through by accident. Look at that moon. So anyway, hopefully by the next live stream on Friday, I'll have some cool stuff to show, because like I plan to work pretty much nonstop on this. I do have family coming in town for Thanksgiving and stuff, so I'm going to clean the house and stuff. But other than that, told the day job I'm not available. Okay, exit out. So thanks for watching me whack bugs. Hey, we get to do this together. Players can fall through the bottom of the world again. Technically they can, but not when they can't remove the block. So we're good on there. And even if they did, it doesn't crash. That's still true. No player markers on the map. We still got to work out that issue with logging in, and still want to do that, but I didn't get that today. But let's see what we got on the task list. We refresh this, and we got, yep, one thing done. And then all these other things that I want to do. Actually, I need to go through the list because there's some of these that are left over from last release. Anyway, I appreciate you guys hanging out with me while I did this. It's always fun with company and the questions, and now I've got like a whole nother section of video talking about why elevation height's limited and why far terrain is necessary, so that's kind of cool too. And I'm going to go ahead and click the thanks for watching screen here. And I appreciate you guys. I hope you guys have a great holiday week if you're on holiday. If you celebrate Thanksgiving, you know, have a piece of turkey for me. And if you're working on something cool, you know, post some screenshots or whatever to the Discord. It doesn't always have to be Mythruna stuff. I think there's an off-topic one. But anyway, just I'm curious what everyone's working on. I see some of it on the JMonkey Engine forum and stuff. It's all cool stuff. And anyway, I hope you have a productive week, and I will see you guys online. Thank you. Alrighty. And now we go to clicking the things to shut things down. Thanks.